right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Dead Zone, 1980. Sorry for the frog in my throat. I just vacuumed down a New York steak, also known as strip steak. This is going to be another Adrian review. This is going to be another Adrian recommendation. Adrian doesn't actually review movies. He just watches them and tells me to watch them. Sort of like Karate Man. Movie poster says, in his mind, he has the power to see the future. In his hands, he has the power to change it. I wasn't too impressed by The Dead Zone, but giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty decent. The Dead Zone, 1983. Adrian, for the longest time, had been recommending this one. But I think it got stuck on my Netflix queue towards the top. The same with Crossroads and Failsafe. I think those were the 3 movies that were stuck at the top because I I couldn't seem to receive any Netflix DVDs for months, and then they just vaporized my queue altogether. Karate Man still thinks I have a Q somehow, and he managed to misspell Q every single time. The Dead Zone is a 1983 U.S. science fiction thriller film directed by David Cronenberg. We like David Cronenberg on this channel. So many great movies. Just take a look at this man's filmography. He's going to be right out there with Jodorowsky and Coffin Joe. Who's the other director that I really love? David Cronenberg. He did Shivers, Rabid, The Brood, Scanners, Videodrome, Crash. I saw on the big screen and I walked out after like 5 minutes. There was Existence, Naked Lunch, Existence, and I guess that's about it. Those are his A+, 5 out of 5 stars movies from David Cronenberg. Quite an impressive filmography, I might add. The screenplay by Jeffrey Boehm is based on a 1979 novel of the same title by Stephen King. Oh boy, here we go. Stephen King inserting his politics and ruining what would have been an otherwise perfect movie. The film stars Christopher Walken, Brooke Adams. Wow, she's sexy. We like Brooke Adams on this channel. Tom Skerritt, Herbert Lom, the Czech-British actor. Martin Sheen, of course, we know him. He was in The Catholics, right? Martin Sheen. Anthony Zerbe. Oh, I forgot to put his name. Oh, let me fix that. Oh, Nicolas Cage said in an interview that this was his favorite Walken movie. Why? Because it's lamestream? I'm puzzled. That statement kind of puzzles me. Okay. I didn't think it was that great. I think it's overrated. Certainly by Australians like Adrian. Anthony Zerbe. How could I skip that guy? All right. Colleen Dewhurst. She looks familiar too. Colleen. Oh yeah, she plays the mother who gets shot. What was she in? I'm looking it up, and I see The Dead Zone, 1983. What else? The Boy Who Could Fly. She was in that one also. And The Exorcist 3. Oh, man, how did I miss her? Colleen Dewhurst. Got to put her name on there. Okay. Let me update my description box and my tags here. I'll be right with you. Of course, Karate Man is in the chat room. And he's actually talking about the movie this time, since Adrian and Karate Man have kind of similar tastes, both of them being from Australia. I guess Victoria? Someone. I can't remember what part of Australia they're from. It's the woke part that had the most lockdowns. All right. Walken plays a school teacher, Johnny Smith, who awakens from a coma to find he has psychic powers. The film received positive reviews. The novel also inspired a television series of the same name in the early 2000s, starring Anthony Michael Hall. Don't know who he is. I guess he was in 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. Okay, now I know who he is. But I didn't recognize him at first. The pilot episode of which was borrowed some ideas and changes used in the 1983 film. The politics in this movie are just so incredibly milquetoast. In the novel, the phrase dead zone refers to the part of Johnny's brain that is irreparably damaged, resulting in his dormant psychic potential awakening. When some information in Johnny's visions is beyond his perception, he considers that information as existing in the dead zone. So he's not only able to see the future, but he's able to change the future. And it becomes a big philosophical question. If you had a choice to kill Hitler, would you do it? If you go back in a time machine and kill Hitler, would you do it? So it's kind of like the ends justify the means argument. You kill one person to save 6 million, I guess. Which is kind of like IVF. You kill 10 babies to save 2. All right. But it's the numbers are in reverse. In the film adoption, okay, so we talked about In the film adoption, the phrase dead zone is that part of his psychic vision that is missing, a blank area that he cannot see. The dead zone refers to an outcome that is not yet determined, meaning Johnny can change the future. As I said, after having a headache following a ride on a roller coaster in Castle Rock, Maine, school teacher Johnny Smith politely declines when his girlfriend Sarah asks if he wants to spend the night with her. Bad choice, Johnny. As he drives home through stormy weather, he has a car accident that leaves him in a coma. He should have gotten her Pregos and stayed with her. Awakening under the care of neurologist Dr. Sam Wyzak, Johnny learns that 5 years have passed and Sarah is now a married mother. This is the boring build-up part that I didn't like. I liked the middle of the movie. I did not like the beginning and I did not like the end, but the middle sort of made up for everything. I would say skip to the middle of this movie, like the midpoint to about the 60% point, and then skip the rest of it. Johnny discovers that he has gained the ability to sight physically. Although I will say the ending was pretty decent ripoff on the Manchurian Candidate. So Johnny discovers that he has gained the ability to physically see aspects of people's lives, past, present, and future, through physical contact. As he touches a nurse's hand, he sees her daughter trapped in the fire. He also sees that Wyzak's mother, long thought to have died during World War II, is still alive, and that a pushy reporter's sister killed herself, hinting at abuse by his hand. That guy wasn't too happy. He just kind of stormed out, said, F you, dude. With physical therapy, Johnny relearns to walk, but retains a limp and must use a cane. I have to admit that Christopher Walken was pretty decent in this one. I mean, when Karate Man says this is one of his, I don't know. Or Karate Man said that Nicolas Cage said that this, okay. So Karate Man is a big time Nicolas Cage fan. Keeps recommending and re-recommending and asking me where on my list is Nicolas Cage. So I give him that information and hopefully he can retain it and live with it. All right. Sarah reestablishes contact with Johnny, but she is torn between her love for him and her family. They eventually drift apart. Ain't that a shame? Maybe they were having sex off camera, like they were having an affair, because he keeps kissing her. Anyways, why would you kiss a married woman? Well, Christopher Walken's dream girl decided to get married after he was 5 years in a coma from an auto accident. And so it's like he wakes up and his girlfriend is gone. He's heartbroken. So sad. He wakes up after 5 years and his girlfriend is gone. I guess she wasn't patient. She was in a hurry to get married, which was kind of a mistake at the end, because she ended up campaigning with her husband for this ridiculous Martin Sheen character. All right, release date Distributed, well, production company is Dino De Laurentiis Company. Distributed by Paramount Pictures. Release date October 21st, 1983. Running time 103 minutes. This movie is too long. Should have been like 90 minutes. Budget 7.1 million or 10 million, depending on whether you believe New York Times or AFI catalog of feature films. And the box office was 20.8 million in US and Canada, 16.3 million worldwide rentals. So pretty decent profit on this. Definitely a lamestream movie. As news of his gifts spreads, Sheriff George Bannerman from nearby Castle Rock asked Johnny for help with a series of murders. This is where the story starts to heat up. This is my favorite part of the movie right here. At first, Johnny declines, but eventually he agrees to help. Through a vision at the crime scene, he discovers that Deputy Frank Dodd is the killer. Oh, a little police corruption. We like police corruption on this channel. Before Bannerman can arrest him, Dodd commits suicide. Dodd's mother shoots Johnny before being killed by Bannerman. So the suicide is pretty gruesome. It's scissors in the mouth. He's going like this over an open scissors, and then he's all of a sudden he's in the bathtub with all this blood. This is the David Cronenberg type of stuff that we're more accustomed to seeing. Plus, there's some brief nudity of a hot black nipples white girl. How does a white girl have black nipples anyway? Must be Hispanic or something. But yeah, she's hot. Too bad Brooke Adams didn't get naked in this one. It was all off camera. We don't like off-camera stuff on this channel. Johnny moves to a different town, and he lives a more isolated life as he grows physically weaker due to his psychic ability. This is where the movie starts to go downhill again. Despite Weissach's concerns, Johnny refuses further treatment. He tutors children working from home. He's getting like 5 headaches a day now. The wealthy Roger Stewart, played by the aforementioned Anthony Zerbe, hires Johnny to tutor his son Chris. Through Stewart, Johnny meets Greg Stilson, a superficially charismatic third-party candidate for the United States Senate. Why third party? Which third party is it? And why third party? If there was a fascist candidate for U.S. Senate, it would probably be the Democrat Party, for whom Sarah, that would have been more accurate, okay? But Stephen King he hates Trump. He's a Democrat like most people in Hollywood. So we wouldn't expect them to put up a Democrat fascist candidate for Senate in 1983. All right. So Greg Stilson, for whom Sarah and her husband Walt volunteer. Stewart warns Johnny that Stilson is dangerous. He's right. Johnny receives a vision of Chris and 2 other boys drowning in a local pond during an ice hockey game. He implores Stuart to change his plans, but he refuses and fires Johnny. Chris, however, stays home and lives while the other two boys drown. And you can see Stuart drinking the hard liquor while Johnny tries to call. The boy answers, and he says, "Johnny, Johnny," and then Johnny just hangs up the phone. So we've got Christopher Walken playing Johnny. I guess we'll call him Johnny Walken, but he's not really walking because he's got a cane. Johnny realizes he has a dead zone in his vision where the future is changeable. So when he shakes the boy's hand before he gets fired, there's nothing. There's no drowning scene. That's the dead zone that they're talking about in this movie. At a political rally, Johnny shakes Stillson's hand, and he has a vision of Stillson as president ordering a preemptive nuclear strike on the USSR. Oh boy. This is turning into another Red Scare, stupid movie. So it's kind of a mix of Failsafe and the Manchurian Candidate. This one. Johnny seeks out Weizsack's advice, asking, for instance, if he would have killed Adolf Hitler if he had the chance, knowing beforehand the atrocities Hitler would commit. It sounds like a Democrat-type philosophy question, or something that some kind of rhetorical question in the public school. Weizsack replies that he would have no choice but to kill him. Well, not exactly. He said, I would have no choice but to kill that SOB. Johnny, and he contradicts himself too. In order to save lives, I have to kill. Okay, that makes sense. I guess he wants to slave all of Europe, not just half of it. Under communism, this guy Weizsack. Johnny leaves Sarah a letter telling her that what he is about to do will cost him his life, but it's a worthwhile sacrifice. Oh boy. This is going downhill really fast. Sarah and her family attended a rally for Stillson. Johnny also sneaks in with a rifle. He shoots at Stillson but misses. In the ensuing commotion, Stillson grabs Sarah's baby and holds him as a human shield, which a photographer captures on film. Before Johnny can fire again, he's shot by Stillson's bodyguard. The goon guy who likes to beat up on reporters who don't like Stillson. We don't know Stillson's political platform. It's kind of ambiguous to just talk about the working class and the upper class. It's kind of dumb. Anyways, Johnny touches Stillson's hand and foresees that after the photograph is published, Stillson's career ends, he's not elected, and he commits suicide. Another great scene where Martin Sheen does the Kurt Cobain watermelon explosion of his brain. Well, it's not that gory, but it is. There's a lot of blood in that scene, thus averting a nuclear attack. He is not elected, and he commits suicide, thus averting the nuclear attack. So the ending was decent. The middle was decent. The beginning and the part where it switches to politics, I didn't particularly care for. But overall, I thought it was a decent movie. It had enough elements of the Cronenberg, for a 4-star rating. It had the nudity, the gore, the cringe factor with the scissors suicide. There's a lot of suicide in this movie. After King's novel The Dead Zone was released in 1979, Lorimar Film and Entertainment began developing a film adaptation. Producer Carol Baum gave the book to screenwriter Jeffrey Boehm and asked him to write a screenplay. I saw it, had great possibilities, and agreed to do it, Boehm said. He developed a script with director Stanley Donen, who left the project before the film had reached production at Lorimar. Boehm completed his first draft for the film on the same day Ronald Reagan's election as president. In 1981, man, this film took a long time to develop. Lorimar eventually closed its film division after a series of box office failures, and soon after, producer Dino De Laurentiis bought the rights to The Dead Zone. That was a good return on investment for De Laurentiis. Film producer Dino De Laurentiis purchased the rights to The Dead Zone after Lorimar's failed attempt to produce the film. He initially disliked Boehm's screenplay and asked King to adopt his own novel. De Laurentiis then reportedly rejected King's script as involved and convoluted. However, David Cronenberg, who ultimately directed the film, said that he was the one who decided not to use the script, finding it needlessly brutal. De Laurentiis commissioned another script from Andrzej Zawalski, but rejected it and returned to Boehm. Cronenberg later questioned the quality of the script De Laurentiis read, and it was initially written in Polish, translated to English, and then translated to Italian. The film was finally on track to be made when De Laurentiis hired producer Deborah Hill to work with Cronenberg and Boehm. Cronenberg initially rejected De Laurentiis' offer to direct the film, but he accepted the position after meeting Hill. Cronenberg received 5 scripts for the film, including one from King, which he described as the worst one by far. So it could have been even worse than this. Imagine all the political mumbo jumbo that Stephen King would have inserted into the script. That was even worse than the least favorite part of the movie that I mentioned earlier. Although Cronenberg did not write Fast Company, he was involved in the writing process and made edits during the film. Good thing, too. The Dead Zone was the first film in which he did not have any involvement in writing the script. Too bad. It was also his first film that did not have any Canadian content. So it's David Cronenberg joining the lame stream for the first time. Dino De Laurentiis, the guy who produced Death Wish and Raw Deal. Action topic. What is Raw Deal? Do I have that on my list? Or have I reviewed it? I don't remember. Death Wish? All right. What about King Kong? With the who was in King Kong? I actually saw that on the big screen. 1976, King Kong. It's a guy in a monkey suit. Oh, it's Jessica Lange. That's right. Boy, Jessica Lange looked good in King Kong. Raw Deal with Arnold? We like Dino De Laurentiis on this channel. Raw Deal is number 65 on my list. And Death Wish is 154. Cool. you like Arnold. He was a terrible governor here. You didn't have to live under his idiotic governor period. The governator. We called him the governator. And the Republican Party had this cardboard cutout stand-up life-size cardboard cutout of Arnold. That was the last time the Republican Party had control of any of the major political positions here in California. It was a movie. It was a movie actor. Bohm abandoned King's parallel story structure for the Dead Zone screenplay, turning the plot into separate episodes. So this movie is divided into two sections, kind of like Barry J. Gillis Killing Games. The first section is the better of the two, I think. It's the murder. The serial killer cop dude who commits suicide by scissors. That would have been better if it was a full movie, I think, with just that storyline. But they had to change the storyline and turn it into a political film that didn't make any sense. Okay. Bohm told writer Tim Lucas in 1983, Kim's book is longer than it needed to be. The novel sprawls and it's episodic. What I did was use the episodic quality because I saw the Dead Zone as a triptych. His script was revised and condensed 4 times by Cronenberg, who eliminated large portions of the novel's story, including plot points about Johnny Smith having a brain tumor. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Cronenberg, Bohm, and Hill had script meetings to revise the screenplay page by page. Bohm's triptych in the screenplay surrounds 3 acts: the introduction of Johnny Smith before his car accident and after he awakes from a coma, a story about Smith assisting a sheriff in tracking down the Castle Rock killer. So actually, I stand corrected. It's broken into 3 parts. Okay, I was thinking about this. But to me, the buildup and the Castle Rock killer story are kind of the same. So I lumped them together. But actually, it's the buildup, then the Castle Rock killer, then the political nonsense Manchurian Candidate failsafe stuff. Finally, number 3, Johnny deciding to confront the politician Stilson, who's not very believable character. Bohm said that he enjoyed writing character development for Smith, having him struggle with the responsibility of his psychic ability and ultimately giving up his life for the greater good. It was this theme that made me like the book, and I particularly enjoyed discovering in it what was essentially a genre piece, a work of exploitation. He said, in Boehm's first draft of the screenplay, Johnny does not die at the end, but rather has a vision about the Castle Rock killer who is still alive and escaped from prison. Oh, that would have been an even better ending. Cronenberg insisted that this trick ending be revised. Too bad. Cronenberg is a good director, but I think he made a mistake here. Boehm submitted the final draft of the screenplay on November 8th, 1982. Boehm stated that Donen wanted the film to be told from an outside point of view, while Cronenberg wanted it from Johnny's perspective. King is reported to have told Cronenberg that the changes the director and Boehm made to the story improved and intensified the power of the narrative. Yeah, I would have really cringed at this if they had used the Stephen King original screenplay. Before Christopher Walken was cast as Johnny Smith, Bill Murray was considered for the role, as it was King's first choice. Okay, Bill Murray from Caddyshack. Cronenberg initially wanted Nicholas Campbell to portray Johnny, but the director wound up casting him as the Castle Rock killer instead. Oh, I got to put Nicholas Campbell's name in here. Nicholas Campbell. Great acting. Great acting in this movie. Great cinematography. The storyline was a little funky. That's the only issue that I had, was the storyline. But considering that they had to make like 10 edits to the script, it's not surprising that I was a little bit disappointed with the storyline. Cronenberg also wanted Hal Holbrook to play the Sheriff Bannerman, but De Laurentiis objected. Hal Holbrook from Seconds? My favorite movie? That would have been an interesting Hal Holbrook as Sheriff Bannerman. I think I would have enjoyed it better, actually. In addition to Donen, both John Badham and Michael Cimino were also considered to direct. Good thing Cronenberg directed this one. The Financial Failure of Videodrome, another great movie with Debbie Harry. I used to have a big crush on Debbie Harry and her flat chest. Occurred during the filming of Dead Zone. Shooting started in early 1983 and took place in the greater Toronto area and regional municipality of Niagara of Cronenberg's native Ontario, Canada. This is a Canucksploitation flick, y'all. The so-called Screaming Tunnel, located in the nearby Niagara Falls, Ontario, was also used as the backdrop for one scene. Another great scene. The gazebo, which is my favorite scene. I think I've seen it actually on cable, this scene. Was built by the film crew and donated to Niagara-on-the-Lake. It was Cronenberg's first film to utilize stereophonic sound. According to David Cronenberg interview on the DVD, The Dead Zone was filmed during a relentless deep freeze in southern Ontario, which lasted for weeks, creating an authentic atmosphere of sub-zero temperatures and icy, snow-packed terrain, which made for great national natural shooting locations, despite it being almost too cold for cast and crew to tolerate at times. Canada's Wonderland, a theme park 30 kilometers north of Toronto's city limits, was also used as a filming location. The music soundtrack, composed by Michael Kamen, was recorded by the National Philharmonic Orchestra in London at the famous EMI Abbey Road Studios. Michael Kamen conducted the recording sessions. The orchestra was contacted and led by Sidney Sachs. This is the only Cronenberg film since The Brood for which Howard Shore was not composer. That's too bad. We like 1970s Cronenberg movies on this film. Oh, Karate Man says, I don't pay attention to his politics, only his action movies career. Yeah, no kidding. You still haven't seen Around the World in 80 Days, which is his best movie by far. All right. So the film's premiere was planned for the Toronto International Film Festival, but 3 days before the showing, Paramount removed it as the studio did not want negative reviews 6 weeks before the film's theatrical release. Daniel was premiered instead. Okay. Cronenberg criticized the film's theatrical distribution, and he stated that it could have been number one at the box office had its distribution been better. The head of marketing at Paramount, David Rose, was arrested for embezzling money, and Cronenberg theorized that Rose might have taken money meant for marketing of the film. Oh, that's unfortunate. Cronenberg showed his own Dolby stereo version of the film in Toronto for a month, as none of the theaters were playing that version and broke even without concessions. The Dead Zone received very positive reviews on release. It holds an approval rating of 88% on review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes. Based on 50 reviews with an average score of 7.7 out of 10, the site's consensus reads, The Dead Zone combines taut direction from David Cronenberg and a rich performance from Christopher Walken to create one of the strongest Stephen King adaptations. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 69 of 100 based on 8 reviews indicating generally favorable reviews. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3.5 stars. He's even less generous than I am, describing The Dead Zone as by far the best of the half a dozen cinematic adaptations of King novels to that date. What about I can't think of the other one that's better than this. It's the other one that Adrian recommended was some television show that lasted for 3 hours. He praised Cronenberg's direction for successfully weaving the supernatural into the everyday and noted believable performances by the entire cast. Oh, I don't know about the Martin Sheen character was not believable to me. I'm sorry. The irony is that I'm being overly critical of Roger Ebert when he's giving it a lower rating, though. He says, especially Walken. Walken does such a good job of portraying Johnny Smith, the man with the strange gift, and we forget that this is science fiction or fantasy or whatever, and we just accept it as this guy's story. Good point. I don't normally like Roger Ebert, but I think he's pretty close, with the exception of every cast member. I did not like the Martin Sheen character. I couldn't stand it. It was so milquetoast and dumb. Janet Maslin of the New York Times referred to the film as a well-acted drama, more eerie than terrifying, more rooted in the cold than in sheer terror. Robin Wood stated that it was the first film by Cronenberg that he could admire and called it a healthy development. Are you kidding me? Cronenberg has way better movies than this. Which VHS tapes did you used to have back then? I don't remember because my ex-wife took all of them. I had Coffin Joe, Dark Shadows. What else? I don't know. Bargain bin stuff at the kind of stuff that Adrian buys, I guess. Dave Kerr of the Chicago Reader was more critical of the film, describing it as by no means a bad film, just a disappointingly bland and superficial one. Good point. That's exactly what I said when I said milk toast, in which director David Cronenberg relinquishes the only thing that always set him apart from his Canadian colleagues, his willingness to follow his intuition rather than the logic of the script. That's the problem that I have with this movie. It's not one of the better David Cronenberg films. You only get this if you're a David Cronenberg completist, because it's way different than his 70s stuff, man. It's not even close. The closest you get is in the middle of the movie with the Castle Rock Killer theme. The rest of the movie has nothing to do with Cronenberg except for the Kurt Cobain suicide at the end. The film grossed $20.8 million in the United States and Canada. Worldwide, it earned theatrical rentals of $16.3 million. And I had already mentioned that. So why am I mentioning it again? Because it's on Wikipedia twice. So I give you the theatrical release poster. Talked a little bit about the background, the plot, the cast, the production, development, filming, and music. Then the release, the reception, the box office. We went through A through Z on this film. Henry Silva, of course. We love Henry Silva on this channel. He does a lot of Italian hitman movies. Henry Silva. He looks like that kickboxer. Benito. Oh, Benny. Benny. Benny the Jet Urquidez? That's what Henry Silva looks like. Benny the Jet Urquidez. All right. So I'm 48 minutes into this. And like I said, I went through A through Z. I did this review belatedly for Mr. Adrian, but only Karate Man's in the chat room. So it's kind of ironic that Adrian left the scene. Ving Rhames? I don't know very many Ving Rhames movies. I can't really say. I think I've seen more Henry Silva movies than Ving Rhames movies. So I'm about 50 minutes into this mess. Going down my list, I have Action Heroes of the Cliffhanger serials, 1992, Scanners 2, The New Order, 1991, and Action USA, 1988. Action USA is not even a Karate Man recommendation, but it's a 1989 action film. And it's starring William Smith. Cameron Mitchell. And who else is in this Action USA? You've got William Smith, Cameron Mitchell, and I guess that's it. It gets a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. And it's an action movie. Who is Hoke Howell? I never even heard of Hoke Howell. So, it's got Larry Holmes. So, Karate Man is familiar with Action USA, but for some reason he didn't recommend it to me. Hoke Howell with the deep Southern drawl, courtesy of a Georgia birth and South Carolina upbringing. Sounds like my kind of guy. Bun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And the South will rise again. Yeah, I don't know this Hoke Howell guy. Sorry, Karate Man. But I'm sure if I don't put his name in the description box, you're going to complain. Oh, he did recommend it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. So what Karate Man is saying that he recommended Action USA to me when it wasn't on Netflix, DVD, or YouTube for free. But then YouTube vaporized my queue. I saw it in my Psychotronic video guide, and I re-added it on my own, not remembering that Karate Man had already recommended it to me previously. And I guess I'll pay $3.99 on YouTube. The first movie on my list, the Action Heroes of the Cliffhanger serials from 1992, is free on Tubi. I watched The Dead Zone for free on Amazon Prime. And The Act was free on Tubi as well. So I'm starting to like Tubi. Adrian recommended Tubi to me, and we like free stuff on Tubi. Laters.